Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am coming to you with a video that I think is so important because I have gotten so many messages from people who are considering becoming a host family and who are just unsure about whether they are fit as a family to become a host family and to host an exchange student. And I just wanted to address it in this video and kind of talk about things that you should consider before making the decision to host. One quick note that I want to give you here is that I'm also currently working on the opportunity of hosting one-on-one sessions where you can actually book a FaceTime call, for example, with me, where we can just discuss all of your questions one-on-one. I'm still figuring out the legal side of things, but you know, check out my channel. At some point when I figure out all of the legal side of things, I will let you know. You will be able to book sessions and then you can actually ask me your really personalized questions and we can have like an hour-long talk, just all of the things that you need to know before becoming a host family. However, this video is obviously a free and really easy and quick tip guide to becoming a host family. And as always, if you have any question at the end of this video, you can always just put them down in the comments below and I will do my best to reach out to you and to answer them as much as I can. But without further ado, let's stop rambling and let's get right on into this video. So the first thing I will say is that host families come in all shapes and sizes. You do not have to be a family made up out of a man and a woman with 3 kids. That was my case, for example. I had exactly this constellation, but there are so many ways in which you can be a host family. You can be a young couple without any kids, you can be an older couple whose kids have moved out, you can be a single person, you can be a same-sex couple, you can be having 8 children, you can have small kids, grown-up kids, kids that are the same age as your exchange student. It really doesn't matter at all. A lot of people also choose to host 2 exchange students at the same time if they don't have any kids. So there are millions of possibilities of you becoming a host family. You do not have to have a certain age or a certain number of children at all. As long as you are motivated and willing to host an exchange student, you can be a host family. Having said that, there are some things that I think you should be aware of before actually making the decision to take on an exchange student. The first thing is, if you do have a partner and if you do have children, make sure that this is not only something you want, but it's actually something that every single person in your household is on board with, because they are going to be affected by it a lot, because there is going to be a person living in your home. So make sure that your kids are on board with it if you have kids, or that your partner is on board with it if you have a partner. Just make sure that everybody is really excited about this thing and nobody is like already kind of on the fence about it, because that's going to make it really hard for your exchange student to kind of settle in if they feel uncomfortable because somebody else is being made uncomfortable in their own home. The next thing you should consider is that you should be financially stable. That doesn't mean that you have to be rich by any means. It just means that you should have a house that they can live in. It means that you should have a house in a safe neighborhood. That means that you ideally have a separate room for them. I know a lot of exchange students share rooms with their host siblings. However, having been an exchange student myself, I know this can be quite hard because an exchange year is such an emotional time, and there will be lots of times when your exchange student just needs to be able to shut the door and kind of be by themselves, and a lot of the times they will have to cry, not even because something sad happened or because you did something wrong, but just because they will take on so much information in the first couple of weeks that their brain just won't be able to cope with it. They will have the added challenge of speaking a language that is not their own and adapting to a culture that is not their own. So a lot of the times, especially in the first couple of weeks, they will have to cry just because it's an information overload, and obviously they will get homesick and stuff like that. And I just feel like they would be really uncomfortable crying next to their host siblings because that will make them feel bad. So a lot of the time it is very good if you can give them a room. For example, for me, I had a really small room, but it was all I needed. It doesn't need to be a big room at all. It doesn't need to have an ensuite bathroom or anything like that. It just has to be a tiny place where they can be completely by themselves to just kind of process their emotions. So if it's in any way possible, I would definitely recommend that they get their own room. If that's not possible, maybe work out a way in which you can have kind of a privacy wall in the room. So maybe have a bookshelf in the middle or something that gives them a little bit of privacy. That could be really helpful. So yeah, just be kind of aware that an extra space could be needed, and also concerning financials, be aware that it is another mouth that you have to feed. So that person is going to need more groceries, the water bill, the electricity bill is going to be a bit higher. I will also say that the financials have to be discussed individually between every single host family and exchange student, but generally speaking, I would say the things that everybody uses, like groceries, water, electricity, gas, stuff like that, that's for you to pay as the host family usually, and the other stuff that the exchange student uses by themselves, so any of their like hygiene products, clothing, trips that they want to do when they want to go to the cinema with their friends or anything like that, that is like their expenses, so they pay for that usually. But anything that you guys collectively use is usually up to you to pay, because they are a teenager, so they don't really have that much money and they already paid lots of money for, you know, the exchange year. So definitely just be aware that it is like having another kid in your home, and kids cost a lot of money, so just be aware that it is also a financial responsibility that you are taking on. Something else that you should consider besides having money is having a bit of time. So obviously it's totally fine if you have a full-time job, however be aware that your exchange student is pretty lonely, especially in the first couple of weeks. So it will be really useful if you have maybe a day on the weekend, for example, where you can just show them around town, take them on nice little maybe weekend trips, or just, you know, go out to eat with them, go to the movies with them, take them shopping sometimes, because especially in the beginning they are going to need more clothing and more just items, general items. So make sure that you have time to take them to some places and to figure certain things out. For example, they need to figure out their phone contract and stuff like that. So again, it is another child that you're taking on, and a child requires time, so just be aware that it is going to have to be possible for you to spend some time with them, especially in the beginning. Something that is also a really useful prerequisite for any host family is to be interested in learning more. Obviously, the main aim is for your exchange student to get to know your language and your culture, and that is what they're going to do every single day. However, it is also useful if you show some interest in their culture, for example, and if you ask questions. So you should be someone who is open to learning something new, open to new ideas, and willing to learn something new about a culture. Having said that, you shouldn't take that too far. So hosting is a very selfless thing to do. Some host families unfortunately misunderstand what it means to be a host family. So some exchange students are used as babysitters, for example. That is not an exchange student because they are still children themselves. If you want a babysitter, you need to get an au pair. Same with the household. So of course they will take part in chores, but they are not responsible to be your housemaid and to really just clean up your entire house because you're working and stuff like that. One thing a lot of people also do is to get an exchange student so that their children can learn the exchange student's first language. However, that's not the objective of an exchange year. The exchange student is supposed to learn your language, and if your kids pick up a word here and there of their native language, that's totally cool, that's fine. But do not get a German exchange student because you want your kids to learn German. If that's the aim that you have, then you need to send your kids to Germany as exchange students, because if you do that, you're taking away the possibility from the exchange student to learn your language and to learn about your culture and stuff. So be aware that hosting is a very selfless thing, and that you are mainly there to be a home and a support system to a young person who is trying to explore your country and your culture. One thing that you should be aware of, that most of the time you will not get paid. That might differ from, you know, organization to organization, but I'm pretty sure my host parents did not get any money for hosting me. So it's not like in certain countries, for example in Germany, you get money when you have an extra child. You don't get that when you have an exchange student, so really be aware that it is an extra expense. payments that you will have to pay, and that nobody will grant you anything just because you are hosting. So this, again, this is a super selfless thing to do. However, coming back to the core of it, which is that you need to want it. So now you've heard every, you know, prerequisite that would be useful, everything that you should have financially, everything that you should be aware of mentally before you make this decision, but it really all boils down to the fact whether you want it or not. If you and your family and everybody in your household is ready to accept that there is going to be a new person living in your home that is going to need some attention, but that can bring so much, you know, color to your life, that's all you really need. You really need to just be excited about it and open to it, and just kind of take every day as it comes, go with the flow, and just be, you know, happy and just excited about this opportunity. My family here in Germany hosted an American girl the year before I went and did my exchange year, and it was a really last minute decision for us, and we had no idea what we would be expecting, and it turned out to be probably one of the best experiences of our whole lives. She really fit into our family. She still is like a sister to me. I actually just got the invite to her wedding next year, so we are still in touch even after I think 9 years it's been now, and it's just, you can really make friends for life, and you can really add a family member to your family that is not of your own blood and of your own biological, you know, relation, and it's an opportunity of a lifetime. It is a lot of responsibility, that's what I try to make clear in this video, but it's also one of the most rewarding things that you could ever do, and a lot of people have done it before. It's hard at times, I'm sure, but it's not undoable, and it's something that is, as I said, just so rewarding, and I'm sure so many of you will feel the same who have ever hosted before, and you are granting somebody like me the possibility of fulfilling their dream of living in another country, and you are going to open so many doors for them. And as you might, I'm like tearing up because this is so emotional for me, because it is such an amazing thing to do for a family, to take on somebody that they don't know at all as a part of their family. And every single exchange student is extremely grateful for somebody choosing to take them on as their own child. So it's definitely an amazing experience, and I would love to be there for you if you are considering it, and if you're unsure, pop me any sorts of questions down in the comments below. I will try to help you out as much as I possibly can. This is an amazing experience, and I just want to have you have a realistic mindset about it, but also I want to encourage you because it is amazing. So yeah, if you are unsure in any way, just ask me. I will get back to you as soon as I can. And just, yeah, thank you if you are considering it. Thank you so much for even considering it. Even considering it is so great, so thank you so much, and thank you for watching this video. If you like this content and if you would like to see more of it in the future, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe. And other than that, I have nothing left to say but to thank you guys for watching. See you in my next one. Bye bye.